Welcome back. To complete our discussion, talking about children in grief, joining me again is Barbara Bilderback, the bereavement supervisor at St. Francis Hospice. Let's jump in. Time's never my friend. This time I'm going to try so I can hopefully get through all of these. I'm going to hold the pictures and hand them to you so maybe I can keep myself on track.
That'll be fine.
I want to start with this particular picture that
Yes.
sort of looks kind of in the background like there are people there, but may there not be people there. Tell us about this picture and the age of the child, and what is that telling us?
Sure. I chose this one because we've said that we cannot understand a child's grief apart from their developmental level and their life experience. They don't have a lot yet, so and often they don't know much about grief ceremonies and rituals, things like that. This was drawn by a child about 9. Her grandmother had died. This was a Jewish funeral. You can see the mound of dirt there and chairs where the people sat, and there she is saying goodbye to her grandmother. Notice these two gray figures here. We asked them to draw something that frightened them about their experience. And she said, we were at the funeral and there were these two men in gray that were just, she said, around the edge all the time, and they kept moving around, and she said they frightened me because I didn't know who they were or what they were doing there, and I don't know if they're really ghosts. I thought maybe they could be, but I really didn't know. Well, we later found out from her family, those were the workers in the cemetery that were waiting to finish up when the ceremony was finished. But I think if she hadn't had a chance to draw this and to be specifically asked what was frightening, we might have missed that opportunity to clarify for her about ghosts.
And it also kind of tells us on the front end that we can sort of try to prepare the child with what might be happening, what you might see,
That's
and the meaning
so
of certain
important.
things.
Even when we ask them to say if they want to see a body after someone's died, we let them know the surroundings and what they might look like, and that helps them decide if they really want to do it or not.
Okay, let's look at this next one here. Now,
Yes.
this picture is really on a tilt.
This is this boy again was about 7. His father died, and we have 6-week-long grief workshops for children. Every week he drew a slanted line for his ground, which we think said to us, my world is out of kilter. It is no longer in balance. And if you can see here in his heart, there's a big explosion drawing around there and the word boom.
Boom, yes.
And what does that tell us again about the impact? He didn't use those words, but when we see it, we get it. And finally, in week 6, the ground he drew was across the page. So we think that means he was coming to a different place in his grief.
Wow. Well, let's look at this one, because this one's talking about inside, outside. What is that all about?
Well, you know, as even with adults, don't we like to look like normal, like we're not grieving, like there's nothing going on inside of us. So we asked the children to draw what they think people saw on the outside as they looked at them, and then on the other half of the paper, or on the back side, to draw what we could really see if we could get beneath their skin. This boy was about 8 or 9. His mother had died. On the outside, he's happy. Notice these big trees. This is a very full-sized figure here. Sun in the corner, birds, which I've been told by an art therapist who works with us sometimes that's often symbolic of family, and big family there. Even though this says inside outside, he just got backwards. On the inside, notice we have sad, we have clouds, we have rain. Look how the mountains are smaller. The trees are much smaller.
And he's much
They're
smaller.
not as healthy. This figure is diminished as well. There's no grass there. Very much more barren.
And this one is the similar concept.
Similar concept, because sometimes we'll say you can use the idea of weather for inside and outside. So outside, here's a rainbow. Here's his sun. Inside, we have lightning, we have clouds, we have rain. And as he told us, and sometimes when they're young, you've got to be there with them as they draw to hear what they're telling you. This is a tornado, and this little red blob here, That's his heart.
His
And
heart
he
is all
said,
caught up like in a
he said,
tornado.
yes, there's my heart. The
Okay.
tornado has my heart.
He does say it's raining, and then this other that I want to focus on before
Yes,
this last.
this child was 11, a girl. Her father had died. Notice she can draw a little bit differently than the smaller children. Here's a big flower, happy out here, happy and excited.
Yes.
Inside, though, look at her heart.
It's totally
Look
broken.
how it's totally separated. Look at the jagged lines there, and inside she is
So
heartbroken.
we can use this art to help them bring out what they're feeling on the inside, so we can acknowledge and to help them work through that.
That's how they're telling us.
Now, in our last few minutes here, I want to
Yes.
focus on things that we can do. We talked about the drawings, but here's also something that you can ask the child about in the drawings.
Yes, we know that that we're mind, body, spirit people, and grief will affect us in our mind, body, and spirit. So grief shows up in children's, in their bodies, in various ways, because they're all unique. This child, I don't remember the age, but probably around 8 years old, he identified his own colors for what he thought was where he could feel these feelings. Notice he could feel them all. Notice in his feet, jealous was there. And we were talking about this amongst ourselves in the group, and one child said, well, that's kind of silly. How can you be jealous in your feet?
Right.
And he said to them, I'm jealous in my feet because I want a certain kind of shoe, and we no longer can afford it since my father died.
How about that? So like you said, actually talking with them as they're doing that and ask them to explain versus feeling that that's a silly thing. You get more of what the child is really thinking and can work with that.
Yes, because I have a hunch he hadn't verbalized
No.
that yet, so then we could work with that. And then it says, how do you let your feelings out, which is about teaching children healthy ways to grieve.
Okay. And in this last one here,
This
this was
last
a child
one,
when you talked
yes,
about
this
where do you
child-
feel your feelings.
This child was about 10,
Uh-huh.
and we saw him kind of working over there, but not particularly. And when we got around to the time to share, he just said, here. He wouldn't talk about it. He did not use any colors for his feelings, but notice what he did here. A big heart that says, do not disturb.
Do not disturb.
Which is saying, right now, I can't go there. I'm not ready to go there. Don't try and push me to go there. So we have to still say that's okay. We understand. I'm always here. If you'd ever like to, here's your picture. If you ever want to talk about it, you can. Maybe we need to find another way sometime to help you express what we know is going on inside.
Okay.
So this was a real definite clue to anyone in his environment. I'm not ready to do it yet.
Right, and
And
allow,
we have to respect that.
exactly, and allowing the children to express themselves.
We can't force it. We can't force it.
Well, thank you so
No.
much. I'm out of time, but you gave us much
Sure.
to think about and
Well,
me a different approach to take with our children in grief. Thank you so much,
Well,
Barbara.
thank you for giving us another chance to help grieving children and their families.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Take care. Well, that's our show. For Health Alert, I'm Pam Butler. I'd love to hear comments, questions, or suggestions for future shows. Please write me at Health Alert USA, P.O. Box 50913, Tulsa, Oklahoma 74150. Or if you're on the email trail, please email me at healthalert@gmail.com. And also visit me on YouTube at youtube.com/Health Alert USA. Don't forget the www. Take care, and remember, talk with your children. Let them express themselves, use art, be open to what they're saying, and be able to share what you're feeling along with what they're feeling. Take care. This program would not be possible without the support of OU Physicians in Tulsa.